it's very surreal. You just want to be there to help him. You try everything, and that's what keeps everybody in the family going at this point to keep pushing and find the answers.
Welcome back to a closer look across the Village Media Network. In fact, you'll find us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, X, YouTube, and of course, closerlookpodcast.ca with Michael Friscolanti, our editor-in-chief. I'm Scott Sexsmith. You know, normally this is my favorite time of the day coming down here to be with you guys. Tonight's a little different. These topics, missing kids, man, they're tough.
These are tough stories, and tonight's no different. We featured some of these stories on the podcast to try to keep these cases in the spotlight. This case in particular is a 22-year-old named Liam Toman from Whitby, Ontario. Right. Some of our listeners and viewers may have heard his name, have seen his story in the news. He went missing last February in Mont-Tremblant. He and his friends were on a ski trip. Enquête Radio-Canada and then the Fifth Estate did some great journalism on this case, spending time with the family and also tracking down some of the last people who saw Liam at Mont-Tremblant the night he vanished, as well as using police surveillance video that has been released from the restaurants that were there, sort of tracing his last steps, his last known steps. It's been more than a year now. Liam is still missing. There have been extensive ground searches of the area. There's been all kinds of tips flooding into the family and to police, but we're still no closer to an answer on what happened to Liam. What's been amazing about this story is the people who love Liam have been really working hard to keep this story in the spotlight. They're at Tremblant a lot. They're hanging posters. They're working with businesses to keep this story alive. They're talking to the media. And Kathleen Toman, Liam's mom, has been kind enough to join us tonight to talk about not just what we know about this case, but about Liam and the kind of person he is. And the hope is that, as she said to us when I talked to her yesterday before she came on the show, is any little piece of information could be the thing that helps the police figure out this mystery. So it is a sad case. It's a missing persons case, but I think it's an important one to get out there. And so we really appreciate Kathleen agreeing to talk to us tonight.
It's every parent's worst nightmare, not knowing where your child is, not knowing if they're safe, and waking up every day searching for answers. Sadly, for the people who love Liam Toman, that has been their reality for the past year. At this time last winter, the 22-year-old from Whitby, Ontario, joined some friends on a ski trip to Mont-Tremblant, Quebec. Then one night, he simply vanished. His last known movements were captured on a resort surveillance camera just after 3 a.m. on February the 2nd, 2025. 1 year later, the search for Liam Toman continues. Joining us tonight to help keep her son's story in the spotlight is Kathleen Toman, Liam's mom. Thanks for joining us, Kathleen. We truly appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you taking the time to chat about this.
All right, Kathleen, we'll get into the particulars shortly, but let's start with Liam. Tell us a bit about him, maybe any particular memories as a mom that stick out.
Liam is a great person. You would love to have him on the show and talk to him. He's hilarious. He's funny. He's joyful. He's a sportsman. He loves golf. He loves skiing. And as to one of the reasons he was on this ski trip, it was a ski trip to start off his next journey in his life, to set off his career. He finished his engineering tech at college. He was doing a summer job up here in northern Ontario, working at an Airbnb maintenance resort. And he loved it so much of the outside because he could spend so much time golfing. And he finished in the winter. Him and his buddies had this trip planned. And after that, he was going to look for his job. He's creative. He's industrious. He's a genuine guy, very, very much liked by his friends, truly loved by everyone and missed. And I know we're gonna find him. So I have so many words to describe Liam.
I can imagine there'd be endless for sure, Kathleen. How excited was he for this trip? Did he talk to you about it beforehand?
Yes, he was very excited for the trip. It was planned earlier on the year before in the fall with his friends, and his sister, I and Liam, are skiers. We would plan ski trips to different mountains. We would particularly go to Stowe or different places on March break, and we would talk about skiing. And so this was his ski trip with his buddies, the first one just, with his own friends. And we talked about the après ski and the fun and how much fun he was going to have. We would share Instagram reels on après ski and fun. So he was pretty stoked about it.
Kathleen, when was the last time you spoke to Liam?
So Liam and I spoke the day he was leaving, but we've texted, right after that, of course, because we keep in contact quite regularly. And it was 11 p.m. that evening that he disappeared was our last text. And we were talking about how cold it was that evening. It was very cold where I was, cold where he was. And I was reminding him, hey, there's great shops in the village. And he could maybe get some cool gear to add to what he has already.
Mm-hmm. So just a typical conversation. You guys were always in touch on text messaging. Nothing unusual about those messages at all.
Nothing unusual, and he was out. And from the timeline, he was going to the bar, the first bar before he got to the Caribous when we were texting. So nothing unusual. I felt nothing unusual.
Okay, we want to talk about what we do know, because obviously you've learned so much over the last year about what we know about Liam's kind of last known movements. But can you talk about how you found out he was missing?
Yes, on the Sunday evening, Chris, Liam's father, called me, and I was at a friend's home. And right that instant, when Chris called and not text, I knew something was wrong immediately. Mm-hmm. And he said, Liam's missing. The boys don't know where he is. And it just, world fell apart, stomach, just heart right down. I knew. And Liam hadn't texted that day. I just thought he was on the ski hill busy with his buddies.
Mm-hmm. Did you try texting him at that moment, Kathleen?
Of course, yes.
Yeah.
Right at that moment. And I was texting him earlier in the day. I just thought, he was busy on the slopes. We just immediately went on a group text with the boys, Chris, Liam's father, and I, and we got contact with the police and organized with the resort to put out the missing persons immediately, and got in a car. Chris, Laura, Liam's stepmom, myself, all together, and straight up to Mont-Tremblant.
Mm-hmm. So, Kathleen, you've obviously learned a lot since those very first moments. What have you learned? Can you maybe take us through step by step?
It's amazing how much you learn going through this horrific process, and you don't, it's surreal. It's still surreal at this moment, at this time. And, of books of information, of writing, each time we go back to Mont-Tremblant. We've been there many times to keep the awareness, meet with the SQ, meet with the Mont-Tremblant associations and businesses and the municipalities, just talk and keep the awareness and learn how we can make everything better. We don't want to see this happen to any other family. Mm-hmm. What we've learned is there needs to be better security protocols. We're not security experts. We're not investigators, but we have learned through the process that there needs to be upgrades here. There are so many people missing in Canada. And if you look at the statistics, I can't rhyme it off, right here. You'd have to look at the facts. Thank goodness people come and are found, but the percentage that are not found and put into this miscellaneous slot, it's very, very sad. I can't even put into words how traumatic it is for those families. We need some better processes around that and to manage that in our systems.
Can you help us understand, Kathleen, what we know now about Liam's final, say, couple hours, final few minutes from when we've lost track of him? What do we know? He skied that day. He went out with his friends for dinner, then went to a bar with one of his friends, as far as I understand. What happened after that?
Right. So when he finished he went, it was about 12 p.m. He went to the Petite Caribou, which is the, great après ski popular bar in Mont-Tremblant. And it's a very, very busy place. And when he left there, you can see the surveillance from him leaving there. And you can see that on the Fifth Estate show on Kent. CBC, and I highly recommend that. And you can see him walking down through the village. There's not a lot of people out there at that time, but don't forget, there's a lot of hotel rooms, a lot of windows. Somebody might be up, looking out the window. And as he walks through, just outside in front of his hotel, the Tour de Voyageur, he meets a couple of gentlemen as they're going into the underground parking of the Marriott. And he has a conversation with them. It's Gilliam and Hugo. They don't remember much of the conversation. They were drinking a lot that evening, as they stated. And you see Liam pointing. I really, as you put the puzzle pieces together, he's pointing. We don't know which way he's actually pointing from the surveillance. And as I know Liam, I really doubt he's pointing to his hotel door saying, I'm going in that door. Because of the text, and how I come to this is the text that he wrote earlier where he mistakenly texted his father, where it reads, come outside, meet me outside. And then he calls his friend Kyle. So you put these pieces of puzzle together, it sounds like he's saying, hey, let's go somewhere.
Yes, yeah. That's what it looks like to me. I mean, he's a young kid. I remember he was 22. He's 22 years old. Right. You're out with friends. You're looking to keep having a good time and see if there's somewhere else to go. Is that what you're thinking too, Kathleen?
That's what I'm thinking too. And we've all been that age. And you're out on a fun, great ski weekend, and you want to keep the party going.
That's right. And so in that last surveillance, we can see him walking away. We kind of know what direction he went into, and after that, there's no more sightings of him. No one's seen him, as far as we know.
Correct, and this is the unfortunate part. As soon as you're outside of the walking pedestrian village, there's no camera angles. It's blind. There's no spots, or there's not cameras that have angles or kept footage. So it's very discouraging when you find that out.
Yeah. I hate to ask you this, Kathleen. This is a tough question. I'm a parent too. What's it like to watch those surveillance videos, knowing that that's your son on that camera and that's the last time anyone we know of that saw him?
It's I can't describe the feeling. It's very surreal. You just want to be there to help him.
Yeah.
You try everything, and that's what keeps everybody in the family going at this point to keep pushing and find the answers.
Kathleen, I know there were a number of ground searches in the area. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yes, there was a massive ground search set off the next day with the SQ when our family was there and friends who joined us. That was a massive ground search, 300 meters, 500 meters radius, and then larger. There was walking ground crews, there was helicopters, ATVs, horses, divers. It was massive search. We could not participate in that original search, as these were the experts doing this. And then on March 22nd, Liam's wallet was found in the P1 parking lot. This is the parking lot, which is the very first large parking lot right out in front of the Mont-Tremblant resort. So it's an enter-exit location. And so we are not sure how the wallet was there. Could have been pushed by a snowplow, could have just been buried into the snow. There's lots of hypotheses on how maybe the wallet was there, but it was found by one of the workers. So this opened up another large search with the SQ.
In that area?
In that area.
How far, Kathleen, sorry to interrupt, how far from where we last saw Liam on the surveillance footage to where that wallet is found? How far away is that?
Just over I think it was 200,
Mm-hmm.
200.
Yeah.
It's not that far.
Not far.
It's not far at all.
Okay. Sorry we cut you off. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
No, that's totally fine. I did forget to mention there was a shadow, which I talked about, close to that area that was seen by the police in a surveillance. It is not confirmed that that is Liam,
Mm-hmm.
but there was a shadow in that location across the road in the forested area at that time.
All right.
They believe that that could be Liam due to the timing of the walking pattern
Mm-hmm.
in the original surveillance.
Okay.
So, but it doesn't tie him exactly to the spot of where the wallet was found.
Okay. So a second major search happens after the wallet is found. Same kind of deal.
Correct.
And nothing turned up from that, Kathleen?
No, nothing turned up from that. And then once the spring came, there was another search, and then there was a complete. I'm not sure what the machines are called, but they went through the swamp area. There's a swamp area right outside which surrounds the P1 parking lot. If you look in the Google Maps, that was completely searched out.
Okay.
Kathleen, there was lots of discussion that surrounded a white car. What can you tell us about that, and where does that sit as of today?
As of today, the white car was viewed by the police in our surveillance, and we have no clear update of whose car that was, the license plate, type, maker, model of that white car that was viewed going in and out of the sort of resort streetway there.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to assume anything, Kathleen, but do you assume that this suggests that Liam left the resort? That he was, because if they weren't able to find him in any of these ground searches, that he left that night?
You know, it's really hard to tell or say. So for me, I'm sticking to the facts that I know.
Yes.
There's so many hypotheses that you can go with here. Mm-hmm. And plus, we're hearing so many from various people, and appreciate all these. Mm-hmm. But at this moment, I can only stick to the facts that I know to get me through day to day. And that's what I'm working with. And I've learned this through talking to other families, you know, that have gone through similar situations. I reached out to Heather Chutka, who has Ryan missing for 8 years now, in some similarities from Sun Peaks. And I'm so grateful to have spoken to her right from the beginning. And this is what I'm working within my mind to help through, plus much therapy, to help keep going.
I appreciate you saying that, because I'm going to ask you this question, and because I think people will want us to ask this question, which is, what do you think happened? But I think your answer speaks to that, right? You don't want to speculate on what happened. You want to stick to the facts.
No, I don't want to speculate on what happened. Your mind takes you to a million reasons, a million hypotheses on what happened and what could have happened. And so we're going to stick to the facts. Mm-hmm. And the facts are Liam was walking with purpose. He was talking to some people. You could see him in the surveillance. He was put together, and he felt from the text that we have that he was looking to us, that he was going somewhere. Mm-hmm. Where that is, we do not know.
Kathleen, you've immersed yourself in this as any parent would. How's the support been?
The support, our family has had great support, working very closely with Chris and Laura. We have meetings almost weekly to discuss what we have. We have files that we keep together on information, on where we're going, how we're moving, how we're going to handle awareness. We have family members that are supporting us in the awareness and how to pull this together. We're not PR, we're not investigators.
No.
So, and so many friends who stepped up and come with us to searches. We've had family and friend searches in the spring and the fall, and reached out to different associations that have supported us with searches. It's been incredible to see such support. We're so grateful for all the support. and media support, businesses that have supported us with the original PR. Linda O'Connor, Ryan Design, used her PR team to get the original press out to help us, and that's how it initiated. It started, and we got the first information out to the public.
You mentioned the investigators and that you're not one, but let's talk about those that are the police and the SQ. What are they telling you?
They're taking more tips. We just had January 31st, another on Liam's 1 year. They had a setup in the ski village. They brought their team and the lead investigator. We're told that tourists come back year to year on the same weekend, and they were taking tips, and they had quite a few additional tips that weekend. People were learning about the situation, and we're open to any type of information, even anonymous information. People should go in anonymously just to give any type of detail that they may believe that's somehow linked. And I think they're up to, they had 20 that weekend, a total of 45 since December of information that they're looking into at this moment.
You talk about how you never know what can trigger someone's memory. What keeps you hopeful and your family hopeful on this, Kathleen?
I know that someone out there may know something. They may have some information that will, they may not even know, that will trigger a spark of memory that will help the SQ put this puzzle together. The smallest thing will give some information that'll help put this puzzle together, so we can put the answers together to help find Liam. I truly believe that.
Can I ask you, Kathleen, what you think and your family believes is the best case scenario at this point?
The best case scenario is we have Liam home.
I do want to give a credit to the CBC Enquête, the Fifth Estate. They did do a wonderful piece of journalism on this case and did a great job keeping it in the spotlight. One of the aspects of that show was about Mont-Tremblant, maybe been some initial reluctance to help the family. How have they been lately with you?
Yes. Mont-Tremblant, Station Tremblant, and the Tremblant Resort Association were not working with our family and putting the information on their social media at first. However, they were working with the SQ right from the beginning. We were wanting to put some information out into the social media, and it just it didn't happen at the beginning. So our family was pushing it ourselves and going back and pushing it out. At this point, we are meeting monthly with the Tremblant Resort Association, and since December, and we are working closely with them. We are also going to the meetings with the municipality to help, so this cannot happen to another family. With the team there is the Tremblant Station, there is the Tremblant Resort Association, the municipality, and the SQ that need to work together to be able to help solve some of these issues and the security protocols. So it is a group of people. We know it takes time and it takes funding to get these upgrades. So we are continuously working together and working with them to help this and move this forward.
Kathleen, before we let you go this evening, is there anything that we didn't cover that you'd like to? Is there a tip line or a website or anything you'd like to add?
Yes, we do. We do have the Surrette de Quebec do have a tip line, and we can leave that number with you. We also have a website, liamtoman.com, and we do have a Facebook site that it has all the information of where you can contact for tips, or even if you want to leave anonymous tips on how to get that information through. And we so appreciate everybody who's been supporting and continuously sending and sharing the awareness for Liam. We truly believe somebody out there does know a little something that can help solve this for us, and we're very appreciative of this.
Kathleen, we certainly appreciate your time tonight. I mean, the three of us in this room are all parents and just can't imagine what you and your family are going through. And we're all praying for Liam's safe return. We appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
You know, I'm usually not at a loss for words on the back end of these interviews, but sometimes you just don't know what to say.
Yeah,
today's one of those.
It's an extremely difficult situation, and I just think how brave Kathleen is.
No question.
Also, Liam's father, Chris, stepmother Lara, and all the family.
Yeah.
They, as she said, they jumped in the car that night when they found out to get out there.
Yeah.
What she didn't say is there was a huge snowstorm when they were driving.
That's right. Yeah, there
You're
was
fighting a terrible storm trying to get to your son, and. Just going on a journey like that where every day you're kind of learning a little bit new from people you talk to, from the police, then there's surveillance footage. The Fifth Estate piece is actually fascinating because they helped track down a bunch of the people that they actually talked to along the way. So just a great piece of journalism on that front. And so, you know, I think it's very brave of her and the rest of the family for the way they're trying to keep this in the spotlight. The hope they have is very inspiring. I hope that they get the answers they're looking for and that there's some kind of closure to this situation. I just think too, like we were all 22, right? And going out when you're 22 and you're with some friends and you're on a vacation,
you're unstoppable.
It's the greatest time of your life, right? You have no fear. You're enjoying yourself. You're looking to keep the fun times going. I guess what I'm saying is Liam didn't do anything different than any of us ever did when we were in our 20s.
Nope, not at all.
And it's just a tragedy that they've had to deal with this. So if you do have any information, if you were there, if you know someone who's there, if you remember anything, all the information is on the write-up to the podcast. You can get in touch with the family, with the police, and you can pass along that information. Any little thing is important.
Closer Look at villagemedia.ca is our email address. Tonight's program produced by Derek Turner. Frisco and I back tomorrow night at 7 right here on Closer Look.
Frisco and Scott's Wardrobe provided in part by Moores, Sault Ste. Marie.